My world came crashing down the moment I discovered the truth. As I stood in the shadows, watching my wife Emily locked in a passionate embrace with her supposed work friend Richard, the foundations of my life shattered into a million pieces. The life we had built together, the promises we had made, all of it felt like a cruel facade, a veneer of happiness masking a sordid reality. I had always considered myself a trusting and loyal husband, blind to the growing distance between Emily and me. We had been high school sweethearts, our love weathering the storms of adulthood. Or so I had thought. Now, the image of her wrapped in Richard's arms was seared into my mind, a torturous replay that refused to fade. In that moment, a maelstrom of emotions consumed me: betrayal, heartbreak, and a burning desire for vengeance. How could the woman I had given my heart to betray me so completely? And Richard, my trusted confidant, my best man at our wedding, how could he have done this to me? I wanted to confront them, to demand answers, to unleash the fury that threatened to consume me. But something held me back. Perhaps it was the sheer disbelief, the inability to reconcile the Emily I thought I knew with this deceitful stranger. Or maybe it was a glimmer of hope, a desperate need to cling to the remnants of our marriage, to find some semblance of an explanation that could make sense of this nightmare. Instead, I retreated, my mind racing with a torrent of questions. How long had this been going on? Were there others before Richard? What had I done to drive Emily into the arms of another man? The what-ifs and the might-have-beens tormented me, robbing me of sleep and peace of mind. Days turned into weeks, and I found myself sinking deeper into a well of despair. I went through the motions of my daily life, a hollow shell of the man I once was. My work suffered, my relationship strained, and the only solace I found was in the bottom of a glass, where the alcohol provided a temporary respite from the anguish that consumed me. As I spiraled deeper into the abyss of my own anguish, a chance encounter with an old acquaintance, Sophia, would set in motion a series of events that would forever alter the course of my life. Sophia, a steely-eyed woman with a penchant for vengeance, listened to my tale of woe with a calculating gaze. "If she's betrayed you," she said, her voice laced with a hint of venom, "then she deserves to pay the price." Her words struck a chord within me, igniting a smoldering spark of retribution that had been slowly kindling. Sophia's proposal was simple yet enticing: help her enact a carefully orchestrated plan to humiliate Emily and Richard, to make them suffer the consequences of their actions. At first, I balked at the idea, my moral compass reeling at the thought of stooping to their level. But the more I dwelled on the pain they had inflicted, the more the allure of vengeance took hold. I had spent too long drowning in my own misery, letting Emily and Richard's betrayal control my life. It was time to take back the power, to make them feel the same anguish that had consumed me. With Sophia's guidance and her network of resources, I embarked on a twisted journey of retribution. We meticulously pieced together a plan that would expose Emily and Richard's infidelity, shattering the carefully crafted facade they had built. The thought of them losing everything, of experiencing the same heartbreak I had endured, filled me with a twisted sense of satisfaction. As the plan unfolded, I watched from the sidelines, a silent observer to the unraveling of Emily and Richard's lives. I saw the shock and horror on their faces as their secrets were dragged into the light, their reputations and careers crumbling around them. Emily, once the picture of perfection, was reduced to a sobbing, broken mess, pleading for my forgiveness. Richard, my once trusted friend, was left a pariah, his name tarnished beyond repair. In the midst of their downfall, I felt a sense of power and control that I had not experienced in months. The pain and anguish I had endured had been transformed into a weapon, a tool to exact my own twisted brand of justice. It was a heady feeling, intoxicating in its own way, and for a time, I reveled in the satisfaction of their suffering. But as the dust settled and the adrenaline wore off, a haunting realization dawned on me. In my pursuit of vengeance, had I become no better than the very people I sought to punish? The once clear lines between right and wrong had become blurred, and I found myself questioning the morality of my actions. The weight of my decisions began to bear down on me, a heavy burden that I could no longer ignore. I had sacrificed my own humanity in the name of retribution, and the cost was far greater than I had ever imagined. The hollow victory tasted of ashes in my mouth, and the guilt that consumed me was overwhelming. It was in that moment of reckoning that I knew I had to make a choice, to continue down the path of darkness, or to find a way to reclaim the man I once was. The path ahead was not an easy one, but I knew that I had to try, for the sake of my own soul and the faint glimmer of hope that still remained within me. With a heavy heart, I severed ties with Sophia and her network, cutting off the very resources that had empowered my quest for vengeance. It was time to face the consequences of my actions, to confront the demons that had taken hold of me. The journey back to redemption was arduous, filled with self-reflection, guilt, and the painful process of rebuilding trust and relationships. I reached out to Emily, begging for her forgiveness, but I understood that the road to forgiveness would be a long and arduous one. It would take time, patience, and a willingness to confront the darkest parts of myself. As I navigated this path of redemption, I found solace in the unexpected, a chance encounter with a kind-hearted stranger named Sarah, who offered me a listening ear and a guiding light in the darkness. Her unwavering compassion and belief in my ability to change slowly began to mend the shattered pieces of my heart and soul. Together, Sarah and I embarked on a journey of healing, one step at a time. She challenged me to confront my demons, to acknowledge the harm I had caused, and to find a way to make amends. It was a painful process, filled with moments of doubt and despair, but her unwavering support and steadfast faith in me kept me moving forward. Slowly, painstakingly, I began to rebuild the foundations of my life. I sought professional help to address the deep-seated issues that had contributed to my downward spiral, and I worked tirelessly to mend the relationships I had damaged. It was a long and arduous road, but with Sarah by my side, I found the strength to persevere. As the months turned into years, I witnessed a transformation within myself, a rebirth of the man I had once been, or perhaps, an even better version of myself. The bitterness and resentment that had once consumed me gave way to a newfound sense of purpose and a deep appreciation for the fragility of life and the importance of forgiveness. And what of Emily and Richard, the catalyst for my descent into darkness? Time and distance had allowed them to rebuild their lives, albeit with the scars of their past actions still etched upon them. I reached out to them, offering a sincere and heartfelt apology for my own transgressions, and to my surprise, they accepted. It was a bittersweet moment, tinged with regret and a shared understanding of the immense pain we had all endured. In the end, my journey of heartbreak, vengeance, and redemption had taught me invaluable lessons about the human condition, about the capacity for both cruelty and compassion, and the transformative power of forgiveness. I had walked a path that few would dare to tread, and in doing so, I had emerged a wiser, more empathetic man, one who understood the true value of second chances and the resilience of the human spirit. As I stand here, hand in hand with Sarah, I know that the scars of my past will forever be a part of me, but they no longer define me.